Hi student, today we will discuss some new topic, that is PN junction. In my previous lecture already I have discussed about semiconductor, its characteristics, and already I think all of you know that is what is P-type and what is N-type and how P-type semiconductor is formed and how N-type semiconductor is formed. If don't, then please go through the previous lecture, otherwise you cannot understand PN junction. Basically, PN junction is a diode, is a one-way device which offers a low resistance when it is forward biased, and it behaves like an insulator when it is reverse biased. Now I will elaborate this idea briefly here. So PN junction. First, can you remember for P-type and N-type semiconductor, what is the position of Fermi level? Yes, this one. For P-type semiconductor, the position of Fermi level is closer to the valence band, and for N-type semiconductor, the position of the Fermi level is closer to the conduction band. Okay. Now, if you join these two type, that means if you join this P-type material and N-type semiconductor together, then what happens? Now, if you join this, your diagram will be like this. See. Here, the position of the Fermi level is noted here EFP and this is EFN. That means the position of the Fermi level is just like a straight line. Okay, for PN junction. Now, we all know that for P-type, the Fermi level is closer to valence band, and for N-type, the position of the Fermi level is closer to N-type. Now, see. All this happens here. That means when you form a PN junction, your N-type, that means this will be slight lower from this level. That means the N-type layer, the N-type conduction band layer, if we compare this N-type conduction band layer with the P-type conduction band layer, the position of this N-type conduction layer will be slight lower compared to this. Similarly, the valence band position for N-type will be slight lower compared to this valence band position of P-type. Otherwise, you cannot make a straight line. That means the position of the Fermi level. Okay. Now come to the total procedure, how this PN junction is formed. First just remember this 2 point, that is basically there are two types of semi junction. One is abrupt or step graded PN junction and another is linearly graded PN junction. Okay. Now how this junction is formed? So this is P-type and this is N-type. We all know for P-type which one is majority carrier? Can you remember? Yes, holes are majority carrier. And for N-type, which one is majority carrier? Electrons. Electrons are the majority carrier. Also, we know that the P-type semiconductor not only concedes the majority carrier. P-type semiconductor is formed with majority carrier holes, minority carrier electrons, and some acceptor ion. What is acceptor ion? Basically, these acceptor ions are some negatively charged immobile ions. That means in P side you have holes, you have electrons, and you have some negatively charged acceptor ion. Similarly, in N-type material or N-type semiconductor, you have majority carrier electrons, minority carrier holes, and some positively charged donor ions. Here these donor ions are shown as a plus sign with a circle. Acceptor ions are shown here negative sign with a circle. Holes are shown here with a tiny circle, and electrons are shown here with a dotted dot. Okay. Now for simplicity here we are assume that this is the structure. And now what happens? As because due to the diffusion process, already I have told you what is diffusion. Diffusion, when this diffusion process occurs, can you remember? When this diffusion process occurs? When there is a variation. in terms of concentration. That means when there is a concentration variation, then this diffusion process occurs. Now we all see here that here the electron concentration is higher, similarly, and the electron concentration is lower in the p-type, and the hole concentration is higher in the p-type and hole concentration is lower in the n-type. So this electron will try to move from right to left side and holes will try to move from left to right side. Now when this movement occurs, then electron and holes combine with each other and neutralize. Okay. Then, so after a certain time, it is seen that only these charges, which charges? These negatively charged acceptor ions and these positively charged donor ions are left near the junction. That means near the junction we have seen that only this negative ion and positive ions are placed. So what happens? Automatically a built-in potential or electric field will be generated closer to the junction. Okay, and this electric field is not generated by some external force. This electric field is basically generated through the internal process of this p-n junction, and this electric field is known as built-in potential or barrier potential. Now when this built-in potential or barrier potential is generated, it opposes the diffusion process. That means when this built-in potential is generated, this diffusion process is totally stopped. That means electron cannot move from right to left and holes cannot move from left to right. That means this built-in potential opposes or hinders the diffusion process. As a result, what happens as a result? When the barrier field is this built-in potential is also known as barrier field. So when the barrier field is just sufficient to prevent further diffusion of electrons and holes, at the point of this time we can say that equilibrium is established. Okay, now in this situation there is no movement of charge carriers across the junction. Charge carriers means here electrons and holes. Since the neighborhood of the junction is depleted of immobile charges, which is referred as depletion region or space charge region or this transition region. That means this depletion region is also known as space charge region or transition region, and the thickness of this region is about 0.5 micrometer. Okay. So this depletion region is formed internally. That means internal operation of p-n junction, and this region contains immobile negative ion and immobile positive ion near the junction, and this region around the junction form which is known as depleted region, depletion region or space transition region. Okay. Now here it is clear that due to this formation of depletion region, the movement of charge carriers are totally stopped. Now if you again want that this movement of charge carrier will be occur, then what you have to do? You have to apply some external force. Okay. Now when you apply some external force to this depletion region, this process is known as biasing. Okay. Now what is biasing? Here biasing means applying some external force to this depletion region, to these depletion regions to break down this region so that electrons can move from right to left and holes can move from left to right. Now if you apply forward bias means what? Forward bias means the battery p-type will be connected to the positive terminal and n-type will be connected to the negative side of the battery. Now when you apply forward bias to this junction, then what happens? Now if you apply the forward bias, then it applies a force on the holes on the p side, See, you have holes on the p sides and electrons on the a side. So when you apply forward bias, then it applies a force on the holes of the p side and applies a force on the electrons on the n side of the junction. Okay. So as a result, the width of the depletion region and the barrier energy is diminished. How? That means when you apply forward bias, positive attracts the holes and this negative attracts the electrons. Okay, that means when this is occurred, then it is seen that the width of the depletion region is minimized. So if the width of the depletion region is minimized, that means electron can move from right to left and hole can move from left to right. Okay, that means again there is a movement of electrons and holes, and if there is a movement, so you can say there is a conductivity. Similarly, if you apply reverse bias means positive terminal of the battery will be connected to N side and negative terminal of the battery will be connected to P side. Now when you apply reverse bias, then what happens? Then the voltage which is applied through this reverse bias, it applies a force holes on the p side and electrons on the n side away from the junction. Okay, that means when we apply the reverse bias, it is seen that the it tries to move the holes again to the p type. That means these holes will move to the p side and this electron will move to the n side. That means electron and hole, the distance between electron and hole become more larger. That means there is a less chance of neutralize, or there is a less chance of combination. So you can say that the width of the depletion region is increases. Okay, just reverse operation of forward bias. So if the width of the depletion region is increases, that means there is a less chance for combination or combining for electron or hole. That means the movement is less, or you can say conductivity is less. So you can say that in case of reverse bias, the movement of electron and hole is less. That means you can say conductivity is less. What I am saying, or everything is discussed here, so just go through this. Okay, now come to the next point, that means energy band diagram of p-n junction. See, already I have told you that when this P and N are attached to each other, then this is the energy band diagram of the structure. That means this the position of the valence band and conduction band for N types will be slightly lower compared to P type, and the structure is like this. Now what happens in case of this diagram? So again, one thing, that is the donor ion. Donor ion means this positive ion in the inside. The donor ion density or concentration is higher compared to acceptor ion. This donor ion density is higher compared to this acceptor ion. So this concentration of donor ions is higher compared to the concentration of acceptor ions, this negatively charged ion. That means the width of the donor ion, is greater, slightly greater compared to this acceptor ion, which is shown here. And this is the electric field variation in the depletion region, which is shown here. And this is the variation of electrostatic potential in the depletion region. This is for P type and this is for N side. Here also electric field variation, this is for P type and this is for N type. Again you have a formula, that is energy can be written as E is equal to minus Q into V. That means you can say the electrostatic potential means voltage. So the voltage is just opposite of this energy. So the energy variation of this depletion region is just reverse of the variation of electrostatic potential, which is shown here. And this is the basic energy band diagram for P-N junction. Okay, here you see that the position of the Fermi level is near to the valence band for p type, and the position of the Fermi level is closer to the conduction band for n type. Okay, and what is EB? This EB is the duration of energy or energy gap, barrier energy. This energy is barrier energy, which is written as EB is equal to E into VB. And what is VB? VB is the potential barrier. Okay. Now see, here you have a formula that's in the energy band diagram for PN junction. EB is equal to ECP minus ECN. Now for see here, what is the gap? Here gap means ECP for p type, ECP minus EVP. Similarly for n type it will be ECN minus EVN. Okay. Now again one question may come, that is, can barrier potential be measured by a voltmeter? Here already I have shown you that one electric field is generated. Now you all know we can measure the electric field by using measuring device like voltmeter. Now can you measure this voltage using this potential that is which is generated here, that is built-in potential? Can you measure this by using a voltmeter? No, your answer is no. Actually here when you connect a multimeter or voltmeter through across this junction, across this PN junction, your multimeter reading will be 0. That means you cannot measure this voltage. Basically the purpose of this electric field which is generated internally through the PN junction is to oppose the further movement of electrons and holes. That means this electric potential or this barrier field, the purpose of this barrier field is just hinder the flow of electron or holes. So you cannot measure the value. If you connect multimeter, your reading will be 0. Okay. Now this is forward biased PN junction, and this is reverse biased PN junction which I have described you. So this is the energy band diagram of the reverse biased PN junction. Here you see the barrier potential or built-in potential. Here this is EB. EB is the normal energy gap between conduction band and PN junction. Now if you apply the reverse bias, see, under reverse bias condition, this one, the width of the depletion region is decreases. What I am saying, that is EB plus EVB. And in case of forward bias, you see the depletion of region is minimized. The depletion region is this one, that is EB minus EV for forward bias. That means the conclusion of today's topic is, when you apply forward bias to the PN junction, the width of the depletion region will be minimized. When you apply reverse bias, the width of the depletion region will be increased. Okay. Now student, you go through this. Now if you face any difficulty, so please let me know.